To make cricket a global sport, we must increase its visibility through broadcasting and social media, enhance accessibility by providing learning opportunities, develop a global cricket calendar, invest in infrastructure, promote the sport in educational institutions, and emphasize its fairness and inclusivity. As we move with this telecast today, we are going to take a closer look at how can we make cricket the next yoga. Joining us to talk more about this is Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, former diplomat. Also joining us on the show is Shekhar Vijayan, sports expert. Dr. Rajesh Jauhri, senior journalist, also joins us on the show. And Dr. P.S.V. Rao, consultant surgeon, Manipal Hospital, is with us on the show as well. Before I take my first question, I'm going to go over to the big screen and try and tell you why cricket should be a global phenomenon. Well, what should the BCCI do at this point in time? Of course, the first step would be to identify target countries without national cricket teams and where cricket can be promoted. It will also, in fact, help figure out if cricket can be used as a mode and a medium to generate revenue in these countries. Of course, the step one is not going to be possible without creating more boards in these different countries. And of course, cricket stadiums across the world will help not only boost the game of cricket, it will also generate a number of opportunities for employment. Appoint former cricketers as Indian ambassadors of cricket to these countries, and this will help in promoting and propagating the spirit of cricket and make sure that cricket becomes a global phenomenon. The BCCI and the parent country should do a 50-50 fund allotment for training complexes, training programs and a national stadium as well, where the BCCI is of course the strongest body when it comes to cricket administration. It could also go about hosting events with cricket legends, can go to these countries and distribute kits to children who can pick up cricket, develop an interest in it, and of course take it as a profession when they grow up. Step 5, India can host tournaments for these countries in India, and global tours can be organized throughout the world. So these are some of the steps that can be taken by the BCCI at this point in time, but still, the BCCI has deep coffers. The BCCI is the richest sporting body perhaps in the world. But promoting cricket to countries where it is not popular is going to be an uphill task. Ambassador Kapoor, if you can hear me, I'd like to begin with you, sir. Ambassador Kapoor?
Of course, I can hear you clearly. Very clearly.
So, let's begin with the United States. You have baseball in United States, which is considered to be a distant cousin of cricket. The system of the game is pretty much similar. You have a bat and a ball, you have pitchers, you have fielders, and you have batsmen going in and out. You can perhaps even utilize some of those pitches and stadiums that are used in baseball. Why do you think that the United States has not caught up with the popularity that cricket enjoys in the subcontinent, in Australia, and perhaps in some parts of Europe also?
Well, part of the reason is history, because once the British were ruling America, at that time cricket was not very big in Britain itself. It was still picking up, so this was more than 200 years back. Now, after that, America got into other games in a very big way, like soccer, rugby, football, etc. Now, for US to catch up with cricket will be very useful for cricket and for US, because US has the capacity to do things in a very grand fashion, in a very massive way. We have seen that with basketball matches. A lot of universities, even the university where I was teaching earlier, the University of Maryland College Park, has one of the biggest basketball courts. It is a mega stadium inside, but enclosed. So those sort of facilities are rarely available outside the US, not so easily. But some of those facilities, once they are available for cricket, and the capacity of the US to set up the entire ecosystem in terms of the pitch for it, pitch meaning the buzz for it, the capacity to have tickets and stadiums filled up, and the students. So a lot of the universities also involved, a lot of students are involved. A lot of students of the US universities participate in Olympics, in the national US teams. So bringing it to US, bringing cricket to US, and US getting involved with cricket will benefit global cricket in a very big way. India is the biggest name in cricket today in the world, and that will also foster our relationship, because US India relationship is already very important on the geopolitical side, but to now extend it on the sporting side also, it will be a very good platform. Back to you, Vineet.
Shekhar, what are some of the ideas that you feel can popularize cricket? It's already being included in the Olympics, but there are a number of countries which are bereft of what cricket is all about. There's no knowledge, there is no interest at all. How can the BCCI, or in fact even the ICC, can change that?
I think there are a couple of things. Beneath, first of all, thank you for having me over. I think it's a very interesting topic. And I think somewhere India really has to play a very important role. The BCCI and ICC has to play a very important role in being a transformative partner here. We're not just talking about 10 league nations being involved. Now, how they do it is by looking at cricket in its core essence. What is cricket all about? Cricket is poetry in motion. So how do we use creativity there? Can we use some creative ambassadors here to popularize the tournament? Like get, say, football stars or get baseball stars to understand that cricket and baseball is more or less similar in terms of the bat swing or in terms of the popularity. Yes, there are some dissimilar things also, just as an example. But other than that, also, I think BCCA has to take the next step. Right now, I think they have understood that cricket is not just about event management. Cricket is not just about getting bums in the stadium. Cricket is also if they want the game to be really popular, it has to be played not just in 10 countries across the world, but in more countries across the world. And that can only happen by popularizing it in Olympics, in the Asian Games, and doing things like that. But I think the core part of it is how does it create jobs for different countries? How does it drive the economy of different countries? How does it sustain? How does it become a sustainable product? I think that's what they need to look at. And how does it also drive into the nostalgia factor for different generations? Because cricket is a game which is about the bat and the ball, and you need a field, and you need people to talk about it, people to speak about it, and it's a game which is played in the mind as well as physically and mentally. So I think it's not something which is very easy to do. You can't just have a think tank which decides this is how we're going to popularize the game. But I think it's about taking baby steps first, getting cultural ambassadors in place, making movies around it. There are enough and more movies around cricket, for example. Get the football legends involved in this. Get the baseball legends involved in this. I say baseball because I feel baseball and cricket are very, very similar. And I think we've got a big, big opportunity there. When I think of baseball, I think of the big ball out there in US. Why can't we have it like that in India also? I think the common factor here is the population and the fact that we have such huge stadiums. So I think the infrastructure we have, the ecosystem we have, I think we can tick most of the boxes here. But what is really important is about ICC taking the next step, whether they just want to do what they're doing or they want to, go one step forward. Like they say, it's not about being good. Like, how can you be great here? I think that's important. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Right. Dr. Rao, where do you stand on this? How come football is more popular, than a sport which is revered, appreciated, and followed by, close to 3 billion people?
Vineet, one thing about football is that you just need a ball, the football. So for the poorer nations, it is much cheaper to start playing football. And you see that some of the leading football players are from poorer background. So they don't need much setup. I mean, you can start any flat field, you put two poles on one side, another on the other side, and if you can afford a football, you can start playing football. We used to play gully cricket in our younger days. Ravi Shastri is my first cousin, and I remember him as a kid. Every time I went to Mumbai, he would be holding one small bat and saying, "Come on, bowl to me," on the footpath in front of his house. Cricket needs much more infrastructure. But cricket, unlike other team games and field games, has got a lot of intellectual involvement also. It's not just a physical game. There's a lot of intellectual, because of the number of variations, the weather, the pitch, all these things vary. the variations in cricket is far more than in baseball. Now, as to your question as to how to popularize this, following things. One, target the nations where there are Indian and Asian diaspora, because those are the nations where you can encourage the Indians itself. Now, even if you see the other nations, there are quite few Indians who have emigrated to other nations who are playing. Rachin Ravindra is the latest of the lot, but even in Netherlands and various other teams, there are Indian. So pick on the Indian diaspora and try to popularize the cricket in those nations. Second, pick on the big economies like US, China, Germany, Japan, because these are the ones where the money finally decides which game gets popularized. Thirdly, like Shekhar said, not only movies, I say start ensuring that interesting cricket matches are televised world globally. When we were young, it was only 5-day cricket, and it needed a real cricket fan to pursue a game for 5 days. All other games are over in a matter of few hours. That's where they first went to 50 over games, and now ODIs, and now the T20. Now you see how IPL has popularized cricket even more. So that is the way to go. If you want to popularize cricket, try to take these league games and have these IPL kind of games being telecast in other nations. Also try to help them put up their own leagues so that that becomes popular. If you see, you were talking about many of the games in US, they are all league games which popularizes the game. You will have like in IPL where one city against another city. This sort of popularizes it, and the more children will see on TV, the more they are likely to want to play the game. If you just distribute kit and do nothing more, those kits will just collect dust. It's not going to be used. So first you need to have that excitement, that wanting to, that desire to play that game, to understand the game. And I think that can be done by the media, by OTT platform, regular satellite TV. Try to push this through various sports channels so that people worldwide see the T20. And we should emphasize initially with T20. If you try to put 5-day cricket, no one is going to bother. This is why cricket never got popular, was because of the 5-day format. I think T20 is the way through. And we should also target all big populations like Indonesia. So nations which are powerful economies, nations which have got huge populations, and nations which have got Indian diaspora. I think this is where we should target. Yes, Vineet.
Dr. Jauhri, if you're there with us. Dr. Jauhri?
Yes, yes.
Do you think that accessibility is also a major reason, why football has seen more popularity vis-a-vis cricket?
Actually, Vineet, when we are discussing why it is not popular, then we must discuss why it is not popular. So, the reasons why it is not popular, actually, it is a Commonwealth game. Actually, only those countries which were ruled by British. So, it is a game of those countries. So, it is a general belief that nobody wants to get a tag. Many countries, they don't want to get a tag of that type. This is one point. And the other point is China tops the medal tallies in Olympics and in all other games, but it doesn't have a cricket team. Why? Because it takes much time for a cricket match, even it is T20. But in other games like football and other games, it is 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 hour, or 1 hour, 20 minutes. So very less time is invested in other games. And the next point, what I want to say is, if we talk about India, so the sports lovers who study sports throughout in other countries also. So they have seen that cricket has eaten up or it has destroyed all other Indian games, including hockey and including kabaddi, kho-kho, all other games. So the native games, which are very popular and which are very important for those countries. So this point must also be, I think it should be kept in mind. And I wish to remind you all the interview of Milkha Singh, when some journalist friend asked Milkha Singh why India was not able to produce another Milkha Singh, so he said because of cricket. So because of cricket, it is not popular in parents, so parents are not ready to make another Milkha Singh. So if the mindset has to be changed, this is what Milkha Singh said. And now, just about I think one week or so, or 2 weeks before, the women hockey team came back, returned to the country after winning a championship. So, how was the welcome of that hockey team? Only family members and a few others relatives were there to welcome them. So, is it good? Because these all things like. I think I am a wrong person to ask how to popularize cricket, because I don't advocate popularizing cricket. This game is just actually it is wasting the time of children, wasting the time of and people who are and we go to some showroom, some office or some important place during a cricket match. We are disappointed because that officer, that executive is busy in seeing that match. And it is not so in other games. In when we talk about other games, so Neeraj Chopra. Now we come to Neeraj Chopra. He is a global icon as far as javelin is concerned. But when he comes back to India or Indian airports after winning tournaments, after winning gold medal in Olympics or other, so. Only 12 to 15 persons are there to receive him, whereas it is not the case of cricket teams. People are just mad for cricket, and I think, in my view, native sports must be given more emphasis than cricket, because cricket.
Okay.
And last one more point. Cricket is a game which has set betting records, which has started betting records, and we know the history of cricket, why some players who are considered legends in cricket, they used to change their style of batting, their style of bowling, just at the behest of those betting operators. So this is, in my view, I don't advocate for popularizing cricket.
All right. Well, I guess you're swimming against the tide at this point in time, Dr. Jauhri. Let me get Dr. Rao to respond to what you have just said. Dr. Rao, do you concur with what Dr. Jauhri has said, that cricket does not deserve to be popularized?
I don't agree with that.
But that's exactly what he has said.
Yes, I know that. I say you popularize all sports. Don't pick on any one sport or athletics. For your information, I like I mentioned earlier, Ravi Shastri is my mother's younger brother's son. Doesn't mean that I am playing cricket all the time. When I was young, I was into athletics. I was into long distance running, and I was into long distance swimming. And Ravi is only a few years younger to me. And as I mentioned, I would bowl to him, but doesn't mean that I was freaking out on cricket. Even now, I don't have the time to watch cricket matches. So I fully agree that 5-day cricket is the reason why it never got popular. But I see potential in the 20-over match. Rajesh says that even 20-over match is too long. Okay, then you try to make a 10-over match. But I agree on the timeline. But we shouldn't, why shouldn't all games be popularized? Why not all athletics be popularized? I myself have an athletic background. I don't have a cricket background. But I say that if cricket is entertainment, let it be entertaining. And if people are, Rajesh says that people are watching cricket matches when it is on instead of attending to their official work. This happens abroad in FIFA World Cup. I had gone for an international conference in Sweden when FIFA was on. No one was bothered about what was happening in the conference. Everyone was watching FIFA World Cup. So, sports is entertainment. and people enjoy it. So, and it also boosts the tourist economy and your whole economy. So, if cricket is so popular in the Commonwealth nations, it needs to be popularized elsewhere also. And we need to popularize hockey and football in India. When I was young, the focus in India was on hockey, not on cricket. Things have changed since then.
You're absolutely right, sir. In fact, cricket did become an industry in 1983. That's after we won the first World Cup under the captaincy of Kapil Dev. And after that, of course, its popularity soared and soared, and it dwarfed all the other sports which were competing for attention, and it also dwarfed all the other athletes who were competing for some sort of a competitiveness against this juggernaut we call cricket. We've run out of time. We'll take a short break. On that note, be right back.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.